Good morning. Good morning. It is Tuesday, July 23rd. Welcome to Breakfast with Bridgett here on News 6 Plus and clickorlando.com. I'm Bridgett Ellison. Good to be with you on this Tuesday. I like to call it Taco Tuesday. I'll probably go get some tacos today just because, right? We don't need an excuse though. But today we will be talking about grilling out, which is also so much fun during the summertime. And I'm not the best at grilling, but we're going to talk to a nutritionist about some great options for your next grill out and, safe practices as well. So that's coming up. We'll talk to that nutritionist live. But first, want to get you ready to head out and get ready for your day. Of course, it's the middle of July, and Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos over in the Pinpoint Weather Center with more on just what kind of mixed bag do we have today, Candace?
I just wanted to say I was doing something really dumb. You know when you have you put your glasses on your head and then you look for your glass.
Right.
And you're looking for my phone. Where did I put I'm using
You're on it. Yeah.
Right here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on it.
I've done it.
And that's why I have several cups of coffee behind me. You know what, Bridgett? At the end of the day today, rain chances are going to be a little higher than earlier this week. So rain coverage for the past few days has been hovering about a 50 to 60. Today we're up to about a 70% chance, as we will start to see more of those scattered showers. We are basically watching kind of a little pocket of moisture that's coming in from the south. We have moisture coming in from the west. So it's going to be that collision that we're going to be increasing that chance for rain and storms in the forecast for another day. So let's take it to the map, show you what we're talking about here. Rain chances this afternoon upwards about 70%. Storms will be around. We'll have a better shot for seeing more rain. Right along the immediate coastline, though, there will be the chance, though, of staying mainly dry. Most of the rain will start developing along 95 and areas to the west. Then by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we're going to start tapping into some drier air. So the complete opposite, right? Once we start tapping into some of that drier air, rain chances will back off a bit. Temperatures, though, they're going to be heating back up. And when it comes to the tropics, we are watching tons of Saharan dust. So here's the basic setup for us here in Central Florida. This is our water vapor imagery. Doesn't show a whole lot just yet, but we are still, again, picking up some signs of moisture over the Bahamas. We're picking up moisture over the Gulf. So we're going to basically be in this squeeze play for the afternoon. But then you see there on the other side of your screen, some drier air will start to kind of filter in across Central Florida starting Wednesday and Thursday, when we will see those rain chances drop off a little bit. In the meantime, though, we are still dealing with triple-digit heat, feeling like 102 to 107, still running below the heat advisory criteria. But the reason why today might be technically the coolest day of the week is because we're going to start seeing the rain earlier today. So you can see right along 95, you can see where I'm saying right immediate coastline, we might actually squeak out a relatively dry afternoon. But most of the rain by 2-3 o'clock will continue to shift out towards our western zones by I-4 by about 5-6 o'clock. Meteorologist Julie Broughton will be pinpointing that rain, and then we'll have another round of rain developing later on in the day, so do expect more of that. So meteorologist Jonathan Kegas later on tonight will also be talking more about some rain. Then we're going to dial down those rain chances. I wanted to stop the clock here at 2 o'clock on Wednesday. That's going to be a big difference in 2 o'clock today, and that's because we're going to be tapping into some more rain. So more sunshine, less rain means that temperatures are going to be heating up. Doesn't that jet ski look fun?
Yes.
That looks so nice. I
love this background. On those, though.
I know you got to wear all the protection gear. 70% chance of rain. Highs will be into the mid 90s. If you're planning on heading out to the beaches, maybe because it's going to be a little bit of a drier day along our coast, we do have that moderate risk of rip currents. I do want to show you real quick the dust models here. You can see we're still seeing some of that residual dust from that big plume that came in over the weekend. We're going to have a little break from that dust between Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But this stops at this stops here at Friday at 7 a.m. You can see that next big plume that's going to be taking over the Caribbean on Friday could be causing some issues there. So if you have any cruise trips or whatnot to the Caribbean, that will be playing a big factor in your weather. But we'll be tapping into some of that potentially by early next week. So as we get results here with the full 7-day forecast, best chance of rain is today. We're going to start decreasing the rain chances a bit. I might start leaning into hotter temperatures come Thursday and Friday, waiting to kind of iron out those details But just overall, just do be aware that today will be your best shot for some rain. Even though I'm saying drier weather, Thursday, Friday does not mean completely dry out there. We still will have rain to contend with. It just will be a little more spotty in nature, Bridgett.
All righty. So this is just a pattern we're in, and then it's just a smidge different every day.
Basically, just the timing fluctuates a little bit, the coverage might fluctuate a little bit, and really at the end of the day, temperatures, that's the one thing that really doesn't fluctuate too much,
Mm-hmm.
unless we get a tropical system that brings in morning rain, afternoon rain, clouds all day. That's when we could see temperatures stay in the 80s, but for the most part, mid to low 90s is going to be your story for the next couple of weeks.
All righty. Well, we appreciate it, Candace. I'll keep the umbrella handy. I'm gonna skip the car
Yes,
wash again
and not,
today.
yeah. Mm.
Bye. All right. Want to check in with Trooper Steve out in results one, and results one was clocked in early today. Steve.
Man, she had normally she gets 25 minutes of fame. Today it's like 45 minutes total. She was all
All in
over
the
the
morning
place. It was
show. Yeah.
amazing. Well, that's the cool thing here is because we do take traffic safety so seriously. And I think a lot of people look at what we do and they wonder why. Well, here in Central Florida, we are a very traffic heavy geographic, We have people from all over the world. So why not take this seriously? Heck, we got a trooper on staff, has a mobile safety device basically, and Mark got to show that off too today. So that's why we do it. It's all preventable, and we all are trying to just get results and save lives ultimately,
Mm-hmm.
Bridget.
And gearing up for back to school too, so that's always a busy awareness push too.
Absolutely. Yesterday, Mark and I are on the school kick. So he covered Brevard, I covered Marion, two elementary schools that are going to year round. So that's something to pay attention to. And then today was bicycle safety, where we're really focusing heavy on. So he did the story on it today. I'm going to do a stream on that today at 10 o'clock. I'm going to be in Lake Mary, and they have a bicycle safety camp taking place for 5-year-olds to 11-year-olds,
Love that.
and where they can come with their bicycles, make sure that it's the tires are good, the seats are tight, and that their helmets are fitted properly. And
Mm-hmm.
that's going to happen today at 10 a.m. in Lake Mary over at clickorlando.com. And that's going to be my stream with Trooper Steve on patrol. So it'll be fun. And then Mark's going to turn that into a story for everyone to see later.
Let me know if they have some in some other areas going on because it's time to upsize the helmets and the bikes on mine because they're growing fast.
Yes, they're at that age where you buy them one year and it's like, oh, I gotta buy another one.
I mean, they're running through shoes just in a couple of months these past few months.
Oh man.
Like the shoes I got at the
Oh,
start
I
of the
am not.
summer have already needed to be replaced just because they were ruined. So
Oh no. Oh no. Well, the good thing is, uh, there's not much being ruined across Central Florida
good.
right now. So when it comes to our roadways, we're actually pretty decent on a Tuesday. So let's jump over to the map. Traffic map 417 at the 42. This puts us in North Seminole County. You've already cleared that Orange County line. You can see DOT cam center your screen there. Things are flowing nicely out there. No major issues. Slight haze, but no traffic woes. We did have a crash earlier in southern Melbourne, southern Brevard County, east of O'Galley. That's been cleared. And then there are two minor crashes along 528 right now as you make your way out towards the coast. 21 minutes on I-4 from 417 in Sanford to downtown Orlando. That's a beautiful drive. And then 23 minutes Osceola to State Road 50. Also, not a bad drive time. Everyone else still looking good. I am picking up some delays westbound along 408. You can see DOT cam center lanes moving extremely slow. No crashes out there, but I need to tell you that so you don't crash. So increase that following distance, please. Always, when you come to a stop, make sure that you can see those rear tires of the vehicle in front of you. Pine Hills, Edgewood, you guys are good. And then eastbound coming in from Champions Gate, still that little brief slowdown out in that area. So just take it nice and easy, please. Outside of that, Claremont, West State Road 50, nice and easy. And then down towards the Four Corners area, Bridget, we're looking pretty good this morning. So just the routine slowdowns out and about. If you're interested in some bike safety, stick with New Six because we're gonna inundate you today with it. Like We can't tell people enough, Bridget. Number one for vehicle versus people in the country, right here in Central Florida. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that means it's happened to somebody we know. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the scary part. So we got to prevent it.
Yes, for sure. Take that time and check twice, slow down, look around.
All of it.
Mm-hmm.
All of it.
All right. Well, we'll
Thank
see
you,
you
ma'am.
there. All right. Thanks, Steve.
See it.
So, we want to give you a quick check of some of the top stories. Unfortunately, this is something that Sanford's police chief is calling a senseless tragedy. And we've all probably bought or sold something to people in our neighborhood or in our community through maybe connecting online. I know I have, but this involved a young man. He went to go sell some AirPods and ended up being shot and killed. This is just really outrageous, but this happened Saturday night, and he was found inside a pickup truck that crashed into a pond after that shooting. So News 6's Ezzy Castro has more on this horrible incident, as well as safer ways for you to buy and sell items.
Relatively, it's quiet for the most part. It's really nothing going on. It's a lot of older people in the community.
Dante Elderman telling our Treasure Roberts he was home Saturday night when all of a sudden he heard gunshots.
All I know, when I came outside and I was smoking my cigar, I was just standing there enjoying myself, and then all of a sudden I hear one shot, and then I hear dozens more ring after that. I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7 at the most.
Sanford police say that night, 22-year-old Brandon Leo was shot in his pickup truck on West 3rd Street and Pomegranate Avenue. They say he was trying to sell a pair of headphones when 2 people showed up to his window. Then shots were fired. Then his truck backed into a fence, then into a retention pond. Neighbors are now wondering who killed the victim and why.
I didn't see anything, but I definitely heard stuff. So I don't really try to get involved in things like that.
And again, there are safe places where you can buy and sell items. So check with your local law enforcement. There in that area, you can go to the law enforcement's parking lot. They have a safe area where you can sell things, or look to buy something from someone. Meet up there where law enforcement has a presence, and you're a little bit more safe and secure in what you're trying to do with that transaction. But you can read up more on that at clickorlando.com. Now we want to talk about another awareness issue, this one happening with bears in Seminole County. So News 6's Catherine Silver has more on a new push to help make sure people are aware that they are among them in many of the neighborhoods there.
Oh, come on.
This sighting on the sidewalk is just from this weekend. But what about this bear caught in the act, swiping a delivery from a doorstep? Or even at Disney's Magic Kingdom.
No ticket, no entrance.
It's becoming more common to see bears in uncommon places. Seminole County was the top county in the state for human and bear interactions as recent as 5 years ago. But now,
Seminole County has been doing, right off the bat, a fantastic job.
Florida wildlife officers say they're getting less calls. What's getting results?
Securing garbage. I mean, there's no other way to look at it.
Putting trash out not overnight, but before pickup is key. Also, making sure you clean your grill and bring any pet food bowls inside. But there's more. The county says education is really key, so they want to continue those efforts. Here's their proposal. Require builders or developers to put in new bear signs. One at the entrance, one at an exit, and one in a common area, like a park. Is this designed to reach people who are new to Seminole County? We have so many people moving here.
Yes, absolutely.
Rebecca Hammock is the county's Development Services Director. This is an example of what it could look like.
Yes, and this is an FWC sign.
Maybe you've seen bear crossing signs around the county. This is different. It's about awareness.
So it would be for new residents coming to Seminole County, or people that may live in Seminole County but aren't familiar with the urban bear management area.
That's northwest of the I-4 corridor. Think Heathrow, Alaqua, and Orange Boulevard.
I moved to this area from the Longwood area where we had 2 acres. I felt like I was living out in the wilderness, but that is nothing compared to the Markham Woods corridor.
Commissioner Andrea Herr says she has learned lessons the hard way. She hopes with education, bear encounters will continue to decline.
We really don't want our new neighbors to be scared by our bear neighbors. We want them to be prepared.
For this to work, the county says the signs have to be in meaningful places. That's new neighborhoods or apartment complexes where people are buying in or moving to an area where bears also live. County commissioners need to give their approval at Tuesday's meeting. If that happens, the ordinance will take effect once it's certified by the state. In Seminole County, I'm Catherine Silver, getting results, News 6.
All right, there you have it. You can read up more on that on clickorlando.com. Now we want to get to National Grilling Safety Month and Grilling Month, and we have with us Jennifer Mazzaretto from Health First. She's a clinical nutrition specialist, and she's joining us to talk more about making sure that we keep things a little more healthy as we head out to grill out this summer. Good morning.
Good morning, Bridget.
When it comes to grilling, we think about the summertime usually. I know here in Florida, it's really endless summer, and people grill out several times a week, really, because it's just so convenient, and it's a lot healthier than some options like frying foods, but there are still ways to make sure that you don't botch your diet.
That is true. There are still ways to botch your diet while you grill.
What are some of the biggest pitfalls when it comes to grilling out for us?
Well, I will say I'm from Louisiana, so I know a lot of those pitfalls, which is why I went, became a dietitian so I can learn how to not eat that way.
Moderation,
but,
right?
I think a lot of the pitfalls come from just choosing, really fatty cuts of meat and what you add to it. A lot of times people will add a big slab of butter on top of the grill, on top of the meat, and they will marinate in high sodium marinades. And so one thing that I've tried to tell my patients is always try to choose a leaner cut of meat. It's obviously vegetables are great, but we still like our meat. So some of your thinner cuts of beef, like your flank steaks, skirt steaks, those can be marinated. Sirloin is always good. Eating poultry, removing the skin. The skin is where all that saturated fat is at. That's also a good way to grill. And then making sure, you add your oil to the grill and start with a little bit of oil. It's not, you can't have any fat. It's just trying to choose a healthier fat, to make your grilling heart healthy.
So what are some of the better oils to maybe use when you are, using the grill?
I really like to go to olive oil. Canola oil is good too. You can simply add a rub and then add some seasonings to that. A lot of times people will add their seasonings, and that's where a lot of sodium comes from. It's always good to kind of check your food labels, which, I can go over as well. But basically, just making sure you're using an olive oil, canola. Some people use peanut oil, but those are all healthy oils that are good for your heart, decrease inflammation in the body. Saturated fats are the fats that, heart or room temperature. You can look at a big prime cut of beef and you can see all that white marbled fat in there. It looks really good, tastes really good, but it's not the best for your heart, over time.
And like you said, when it comes to choosing something maybe that doesn't have so much fat in it, I mean, the fat does give it the flavor. Many cooks will tell you. So we want to add the flavor back in through the seasoning. So what are some of like your favorite seasonings to use that are high in flavor but lower in the sodium categories?
I honestly like to start with a good marinade, for a lot of especially the beefs or the chicken as well. But using the olive oil, the canola to marinate in, use that fat. But if you're going to use seasonings, kind of stick with your, seasonings that don't have salt in it. Onion powder versus onion salt, garlic powder versus garlic salt. Montreal seasoning is kind of a staple, I think, in everyone's grill, but they also make a version without salt, and you can make your own as well. The marinades that I like to make have the olive oil, usually have a citrus. You can choose whether lime juice, orange juice, lemon juice, and then add an acid to it. Well, which is a citrus, but then add a little sweetness, maybe honey, molasses. So there's a lot of things you can make yourself and marinate your meats, and then add those non-salty seasonings. Like I said, the garlic powder, onion powder, paprika is really good. If you use charcoal grills, which I'm more familiar with charcoal grills probably than the regular grill, you can actually use the smoke chips in there, and that adds a lot of flavor too.
Right.
So you can still get a ton of flavor in your grill without having to add a lot of those saturated fats to it.
And
and high salt seasonings.
Right. And as you're entertaining, a lot of people have different needs or maybe have already pre-existing conditions. So a lot of times when we say like, oh, a little bit won't hurt you, but for some people it is much more serious to really watch it.
It's a great point. It's true. You know, we see a lot of patients in the hospital with different conditions, and some people are super salt sensitive. And by adding salt, it can, you know, make their blood pressure go up, or if they have congestive heart failure. So trying to use those different types of seasonings and marinades, you know, benefits everybody at the end of the day.
And really, none of it is bad. We need salt. We need fat.
You do.
We
You
need
do.
these different combinations of things. We need carbs, but it's a certain combination and ratio that we really have to watch. So how can we sort of know how much salt is too much salt for the day?
A really good goal for everyone is less than 2,000 milligrams a day. And then to put into perspective, 1 teaspoon of salt is 2,400 milligrams. So a little bit goes a
That's why
long
we say
way.
a pinch.
A pinch, a very small pinch is not bad, but it can add up. And you know, if you don't, that doesn't take into account the sodium that's already in foods that we have, because it's the cheapest preservative out there, so they put it in everything. So that's why you see me, I mentioned fresh cuts of meat. It's sausages, hot dogs, that's all great on occasion, but if we're, you know, you're grilling all the time like we do in Florida, it is good to kind of stick with trying to stay heart healthy and low fat when you're grilling.
And Jennifer, I was going to ask you about that, because it is grilling out and you have those staples like hamburgers and hot dogs and sausages. So I still want that on my table. So what should I look for the best choice that I can, if I want to make sure I still have those items on the menu?
Yeah, you know, you don't have to stick to the typical Italian sausages. There's chicken sausages out there. There's, you know, different types of sausages, chicken, ground turkey. You can still do hamburgers. You can still do, you know, a type of hot dog or bratwurst. Check that food label. Like I said, 2,000 is your goal for the day. And so if you check the food label per serving, low sodium is 140 milligrams or less, which would be very hard to find a processed meat that has that, but it's still a guideline you can go by. If you're looking for, you can just compare multiple, you know, items at the grocery store and just kind of choose your lowest version. And it's really hit or miss is like what your preference is, but you would be surprised. There are a lot of lower sodium alternatives out there.
And you and I were both talking about being Southern girls and how, you know, those comfort foods are popular, and sometimes it just hits the spot. And I know one of my favorite Cajun seasonings, it does come in like a lower sodium or salt-free version. I don't think it's as good, but I guess it just, you have to get used to it. But you said even watch these labels that say low salt or low fat or reduced. There's a difference between lower and reduced. So how can we make sure it's still, you know, a better choice? Because sometimes it's not necessarily a big difference, you said?
Not really. So if you look at by law, it's 25% is what a lower sodium is. So maybe a product has 1,000 milligrams per serving. It's 25% less of that. Now it's like 800. You know, I'm not doing the math exactly right now, but it's not that much different. So it's really important to read the food label to see if salt is the first ingredient in that item. That's probably one you want to stay away from. But, and also be mindful of per serving, you know, per serving, maybe it's 200 milligrams of salt, and that's not horrible. It's way better than the product that you would choose that had the 800 per serving. So it's really just reading food labels, taking a little bit more time at the grocery store. You know, once you get your, I say your all the ingredients that you're used to having, it gets a lot easier to start cooking that way without salt. And just don't add salt, especially until you taste the food. That's my biggest pet peeve is, you know, the salt shaker. I try to avoid the salt shaker. I tell people to avoid the salt shaker. You get more than enough salt you're ever going to need in your diet. But if you're going to use anything that involves shaking, you know, salt shaker, look and see what that seasoning blend is. And if salt's in there,
I always say some people are more salt lovers and some people are more sugar lovers. Why is that?
I don't know. I think it's just a different taste buds maybe, but you know, one way to combat having sodium is to add that sweetness in there, which is one thing I had recommended. But if you have, you know, if you're craving that, it's not bad to just, you know, fit that craving in, but make sure you're doing the, you know, what you can 90% of the time and saving that sweet tooth or salty tooth for the 10% of the time. Everything in moderation is fine.
This is true, but these are great things to keep in mind next time we hit that grill outside. Thank you, Jennifer, for joining us. She's a
You're
clinical
welcome. Thanks for
nutrition
having me.
specialist at Health First. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Hope to see you soon.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And so now we want to talk about toothpaste, because this is something that when we think about our dental health, our family's dental health, our children's dental health, you do want to make good choices there as well in terms of the ingredients. So News 6 morning anchor and insider guide Crystal Moyer has more on Consumer Reports' latest top picks for toothpaste for kids.
As parents, it's important to prioritize your child's dental health.
Now, how many times a day are you supposed to brush your teeth?
Twice. And that reduces the risk of tooth decay, gum disease, and costly dental treatments.
When selecting a toothpaste for your kids, it's essential to choose one that contains fluoride and is free from potentially harmful ingredients. Consumer Reports and Made Safe, a nonprofit focused on product safety and sustainability, recently teamed up and evaluated 7 popular children's fluoride toothpastes. 2 toothpastes, Hello Kids Magical Mermaid Fluoride Toothpaste and Jason C. Fresh Anti-Cavity and Strengthening Toothpaste, stood out as favorites, containing safer and more sustainable ingredients. And 3 products, Burt's Bees Kids Strawberry Splash, Colgate Kids Cavity Protection Bubble Fruit, and Crest Kids Crest Cavity Protection Sparkle Fun Toothpaste, contain titanium dioxide and other ingredients linked to potential health concerns.
While none of these ingredients pose any immediate risk to kids, research has linked certain food dyes to hyperactivity in children and titanium dioxide to potential damage to the body's genetic material and immune system.
It's also important to select an appropriate toothbrush. In Consumer Reports tests, Philips Sonicare for Kids came out on top, excelling at cleaning and ease of use.
All right, so you can check that out now on clickorlando.com if you want to read up more on that. Weather-wise is up next with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. I'll see you at noon. Have a good one.